your wisdom, and as well as your great negotiating ability. I believe with the grace of God and with all of your effort, we believe that we can we can be partners, true partners to you, to bring about a historic peace treaty under your stewardship to bring about peace.
I've always heard that perhaps the toughest deal to make is the deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Let's see if we can prove them wrong.
President Trump meeting with Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas to discuss the Mideast peace deal. This as Hamas, a rival Palestinian faction to Mahmoud Abbas's group, they unveiled a new policy that supposedly drops its call for Israel's destruction. But did it? Are gullible journalists at CNN, the New York Times, and LA Times being duped into believing that Hamas no longer seeks to wipe Israel off the face of the earth? Joining me now, Fox News military analyst and host of War Stories, he is Lieutenant Colonel Oliver Noor. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Good to see you, Colonel.
Thanks, Liz.
First, what do you think? Do you think the deal maker in chief can get a peace deal between Palestine and Israel?
Well, it's nice to hear a Palestinian leader talking about peace instead of making war on the Zionist state. And there's no doubt that President Trump understands the red lines for Prime Minister Netanyahu. It's also pretty clear he would love to broker, or as he put it, facilitate a peace deal. The major problem is that Abbas does not speak for Hamas, and Hamas is being armed and funded by Iran. And so reporting on the Hamas release of its new general principles and policies, which you just mentioned, the document just came out here on Monday, isn't just gullible, it's willful suspension of disbelief. It still calls for attacks on Jews. It calls for the elimination of the Jewish state. And for people to assume that this is some new moderate Hamas, they're smoking something.
Yeah, to your point, Colonel, and again, thank you. That's interesting what you just said, because CNN, the New York Times, the LA Times, MSNBC pundits are saying that Hamas is softening its stance on Israel. And there's some reporting that this policy it's a new charter, that it replaced its founding charter. It looks like it did not do that.
No, it doesn't. It's an update, I suppose, on where they stand in the aftermath of what took place 2 summers ago. Look, as long as Hamas exists, the so-called two-state solution is a pipe dream. It would be great to see a real Mideast peace process and have it actually work, but I'm not holding my breath, Liz.
Yeah, Colonel, let's switch to North Korea. North Korea did confirm it seized a third American, trying to ratchet up the pressure on the Trump administration. And one of them is facing 15 years hard labor. That's that college student. He's still over there in North Korea. This as the U.S. test-fired a ballistic missile from the California coastal base. North Korea's rockets have been exploding on the launch pad. Where do you see this conflict heading?
Well, look, let's call these 3 American citizens what they really are. They're called hostages. President Trump has raised the stakes on Kim Jong-un by getting the Chinese President Xi to tighten the screws on the Democratic People's Republic and offering to meet with Kim. It was a brilliant stroke. Now, it's very likely, I think, that the Chinese leadership are sitting down with their military intelligence chiefs and looking at who they want to take over in Pyongyang if the chubby dwarf running the Hermit Kingdom catches a cold or falls down a flight of stairs. I mean, that probably is the only real solution that they've got and that we've got, quite frankly. Look, Kim's only claim to power is that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is a family dynasty. Like his grandfather and his father, he's wedded to reuniting the 2 Koreas. If you look carefully at the video of the military officers and those regime officials that stand on the podiums around Kim, they are so ancient they look like exhumed cadavers. Now, serious. Look, his joint venture on Iran, with Iran on acquiring nukes and ICBMs to deliver them, is the only way he can afford to continue his nuclear ICBM research and development. He knows he's the only fat man in a country so poor, grass is a major ingredient in fine North Korean cuisine.